Arshel Akhter. I'll be talking about walking today. Incidentally, actually I wanted to walk from my home to this venue, and I tried this a couple of days back, and because of my experiences I decided not to. I'll tell you more about my walking experience and also about the topic. They will become more clear as I go along. I'd like to start with two of my earliest achievements that I achieved in the first year of my birth. I started walking and talking. Obviously started with some crawling and mumbling, but as I learned the tricks. And these two achievements made my parents very happy. I guess these are achievements that most of us achieve as well. But as we grow up, we do talk about talking, but walking, even though we do it, we hardly talk about walking nowadays. All of us walk. All of us walk. We walk for whatever distance, whatever place, whatever time. But somehow in urban areas, walking takes a back seat, and we'll talk less about it. We walk, but then in urban areas, whenever we are not inside our cars, inside our vehicles, we do walk. Walking happens to be the oldest mode of transportation. Since the time human beings learned to walk on their 2 feet, we have been relying on our 2 feet to explore, to travel, right? And so much so that our bodies have evolved in a way. This has been for millions of years, and we have traveled the entire world, but something changed in the last 100 years with the invention of the automobile, and more so the private kind of cars. In our country, we have seen a drastic change in the last 30 or 40 years, which huge number of vehicles being owned, cars become more affordable, and this has actually changed the way our cities have been designed, the way we travel, and also impacted our health. Firstly, our cities. We have seen that our cities have been focusing more on moving vehicles. We have seen a large number of flyovers been constructed, city streets been made wider, foot overbridges been created, a lot of on-road parking spaces, free parking spaces be provided. The flyovers were stated to reduce congestion, but studies over and over have shown that flyovers inside cities do not reduce congestion, but they just move their vehicles from one congested point to another. We have been given this idea that if you make our streets wider, more vehicles can pass, but actually it has made crossing the road very difficult for people. Their foot over bridges have been constructed to let vehicles pass down below very easily, but then people are made to walk longer distances. And car parking spaces, all these free car parking spaces, actually take up a lot of space on the roadsides and actually narrows down the passage for vehicles. Secondly, regarding the way we travel, we've been traveling longer distances. For our city, about 15 years back, the average distance that people travel was about 4.2 kilometers. Now we are traveling about average distance of about 6.3 kilometers. And we have been relying more on our vehicles. Thirdly, about our health and also the public health. We have seen rising incidences of car crashes. I will not call them accidents. These are crashes where people have lost their lives, where people have lost their lives walking on the street, walking on footpaths. And also we have seen higher incidences of non-communicable diseases like hypertension, blood pressure, obesity, and we have seen that doctors nowadays prescribe walking as well together with medicines. So where do we go to walk? We go to places like public parks, walking zones, and some riverfront parks, as in the case in our city. But then these places are not nearby all our play homes. So people have to travel again on their vehicles to reach these places just to walk. Isn't it ironical that we have to rely on our vehicles to go to these places just to walk? Urban planners, sustainable development experts, as well as a lot of policy documents have mentioned that cities need to develop walking facilities, cycling facilities, and provide better public transport network, so that it gives people an option to get out of their cars and travel from one place to another. But these seems to have not been followed. These are written just in paper, and somehow pedestrians have become invisible, not just to the policymakers, to the administrators, but to us as well. It is said that if we travel if we walk for shorter distances, say for 1 or 2 kilometers, once or twice a week, we can reduce the amount of congestion in our cities. We can reduce the amount of pollution levels in our cities, and also it will improve our health. But where do we walk? So let me tell you about my story about walking that I started with. So initially I stayed a nearby place about 4.2 kilometers from here. I wanted to walk to this venue today, but then I wanted to give it a trial. So I checked Google. It said it's 4.2 kilometers. It will take me about an hour to walk. I was fine with it. I walk, but I realized that it will take me more time. I did walk, and it took me about 1 hour 15 minutes. And trust me, it is not because of my speed of my walking. I walk in a fairly decent pace, but it was because of all the barriers that I faced along the way. When I started, I found 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and 4-wheelers parked on the footpaths, which actually acted as a barrier. I saw roadside shops displaying their wares on the roadside, on the footpaths. The footpaths were not even, uneven. Lot of places they were broken. In some places, garbage were dumped. In some places, drain water was overflowing. In some places, there were no footpaths. In some places, electric poles were right in the middle of the footpath. And in some places, electric transformers were constructed fully blocking the passage of the footpaths. So this is the story of not just our city. This is the story of a lot of other cities, and these are the barriers that actually have led people to rely more on their vehicles even for shorter distances. It is said that the best way to see a city is by walking. That's the reason we see the best and most well-known cities, tourist-friendly cities, are very walking-friendly. People like to walk and see the places. Like I mentioned, there are all these barriers that I face on my way. It's not as gloomy as it sounds. There are places in India, there are a lot of, I would not say a lot of, there are some cities which are actually thought of improving the pedestrian infrastructure for the cities. They've widened the footpaths. The footpaths are even. There are benches on these sides where people can sit down. There are tree coverings. There are good lighting for people to walk in the night. There are spaces for street vendors to sell their wares. There are specific parking spaces for cars to be parked. There are places where people can cross over the intersection very safely. In my case, day before yesterday, where I wanted to cross the busy intersections, I had to look not just left and right. I was very scared because people are not letting me pass. In those cities, there are intersections being made where vehicles need to stop at the stop lines before the zebra crossings where people can cross over easily. Interestingly, in Guwahati as well, we have seen a small change. Just 2 kilometers from here, under a busy flyover, in a very big flyover, under a busy in a very busy intersection, footpaths have been well designed. People not know about it because we do not talk about it. The media doesn't speak much about it. I'd like to appreciate the efforts of the department that has done this, and I believe more such places in the city and other cities in our state where pedestrian infrastructure will be improved. It is said that if we walk for shorter distances, pollution levels will go down, we'll be relying less on our vehicles, we'll be using less of our cars, leading to lesser congestion, it will improve our health as well. Footpaths are not just required to going from one place to another. Footpaths are places where we can even go for walking. For our health, footpaths are actually public spaces as well. We need cities with streets where the children can walk safely, where the elderly can walk very safely, where women find it very easy to walk around, where the differently able people can walk safely. Cities need to focus more on pedestrian infrastructure. As citizens, we need to demand more for public infrastructure like better footpaths, because when a city takes its pedestrians seriously, the city just starts to take the city seriously, and the pedestrians become visible to the city, to the people. Thank you.